Hello, good morning. Welcome and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Knitting podcast. Today we're doing another episode, which will be episode 9. And yes, a warm welcome. So it has been a few months. I must apologize. I think I will probably only be able to record an episode every 2 months, maybe 2 or 3 months. We'll see how it goes. Depends on my availability and my knitting time, how much I have to show you as well. So yes, my knitting friends, settle in with a nice drink. I'm drinking a coffee this morning. Yes, it is morning now. It is Saturday. Saturday morning, and I'm off because my girls they've gone to their swimming lessons now with my other half. So yes, I'm calling this my morning off, which I don't have often. So I thought I want to take the opportunity to chat to you today about knitting again. Let me take a sip. So yes, for any new viewers, my name is Kathleen, and this is primarily a knitting podcast where I talk everything knitting. So if you're like me, you love knitting and fiber art and needlework, then you are in the right place. I should think you will enjoy the content. So yes, because it has been, my last episode was in April, around April time. It's been a few months. So that's why on the plus side, I have a lot to show you today. So yeah, let's maybe jump right into it. I'm gonna drink my coffee, and then I will be right back, and we're gonna jump in and talk about knitting. I just want to say a very warm thank you, heartfelt thank you to all the new subscribers. I saw recently there were a few new subscribers, so thank you for liking my video and for subscribing. That helps me a lot, so thank you very much. And it brings me joy to see that other crafty people also enjoy this content, so that makes me very happy. So yes, let's start. Let's start with what I'm wearing. I do follow the same knitting podcast format. So we're gonna do what I'm wearing, finished objects, work in progress, and then a nitty chat if we have time at the end. So what am I wearing? Let me just stand up. So this is the Spring Bloom cardigan by Skeino. I knitted this about 2-3 years ago. 3 years probably now. And yes, it's by Skeino. I believe they're an American company. I might be mistaken there. Don't take my word for that. And it was sold as a kit. A kit means you get the yarn and the pattern all in one. Usually the pattern is a free download, but then you have to purchase the yarn. So the way I done it with this is I just got the free pattern. So it is still available, I believe, free download. So if you're interested in knitting this, I would highly recommend, and it's freely available. But then I used a different yarn. I did not use the Skeino yarn because I think it calls for, I think that particular yarn was a bamboo yarn. And for whatever reason I didn't go for that, but I'm very happy with this yarn anyway. I think it matches the pattern very well. Let me just stand up again and show you. So it is a all over lace cardigan, as you can see. It has this beautiful lace detail. A summery cardigan. I really love it. It's so beautiful. It's a variegated yarn. The yarn is Malabrigo, I believe. I will link it down below. I will link everything below. All the patterns and yarn I talk about today. So that you can find that in the description field below. So yes, the yarn is Malabrigo. Spring Bloom cardigan, free pattern. Now about the construction. So first a bit of a backstory on this. I actually saw this pattern through the Very Pink Knits channel, and she does a really good instructional video. I think she must have worked together with Skeino to do the video. So instructional video where she really explains the construction very well. So I had seen this pattern already many years ago when it came out. It must have been probably now 5 or 6 years ago. And I had it in my queue for such a long time, this pattern, for probably then the following 1 or 2 years. And I always felt, oh my god, I really want this finished object. I really want this cardigan. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. But I was too nervous. I was still a kind of beginner-ish knitter. So for a long time I thought I couldn't knit it, and I was torn. Should I give it a go? Should I not give it a go? But then, as I said a few years ago, I just went ahead and just did it. I just jumped right in and just did it. And that would be my advice to newer knitters. If you are a new knitter, just jump in, just get the pattern. And if you have to read the pattern 10 times, then you have to read it 10 times to get it. And there's so much available resources online as well, where you can Google, you can look on YouTube. There's some abbreviations that are really hard to grasp, and it's almost an own language knitting pattern, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I just, anyway, back to the cardigan. I just jumped in, and it was easy in the end. It is actually an easy construction, because what you do is you start knitting from the bottom. You knit it in pieces and then you seam it, yeah? So you start here from the bottom, you knit up all the way the back piece, then you increase stitches for the sleeves on both sides, then you continue knitting up onto the shoulders. Yes, you continue knitting this side. You have to do the neckline shaping. Then you bind off stitches for the sleeves again to give you that shape. I mean, if you're interested, have a look on Very Pink Knit's Spring Bloom cardigan. She explains the construction much better than I do, even with a diagram on a piece of paper. So yeah, it was easy in the end, and I really like it. So that's that, yes. And now we will move on to my finished objects. So I think this must have already made an appearance in my previous episode back in March. This is the Cumulus blouse. Ta-da! Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. I'm sure it does not need any introduction. Very, very popular designer, very popular pattern. Cumulus blouse, and I mean, for me, I mean, my Cumulus blouse is not a blouse, it's a sweater, because I knitted this in Tukuwool DK, I think it is called, and it's a very, very rustic yarn. For most people this would be too scratchy. I'm not so sensitive, so I can wear it. I think I can even wear it next to skin. I'm just thinking, should I just put this on for you maybe? Or no, I will insert B-roll to show you the finished objects in action. So yes, very easy construction for anyone who do not know. This is a top-down raglan with raglan shaping. You can see there's the raglan. Where? I'm not sure if it comes out on camera, but anyway, raglan goes, you knit from the top down most raglans, and you just increase stitches for the neckline. So this is meant to be a V-neck sweater, and yes, it's definitely a warm sweater for the winter. So I finished that in April, sorry. And also I actually knitted this as part of a 2-person's cull knit along with Jana, my Instagram friend in America, and so we knitted this pattern at the same time. She did her Cumulus blouse in a silk, I think a cream color white silk mohair, and it looks stunning. And I'm going to just insert 2 pictures here now. of my Cumulus blouse and Jana's Cumulus blouse, and we had so much fun doing another cowl. We did that already last year. We knitted the Breeze tee as in a very small cowl. And yeah, we had lots of fun. It was great. So now we did the Cumulus blouse. And because we motivated each other a lot throughout, we managed to finish this in perhaps about 6 weeks or so. So 5 or 6 weeks, around that time, yeah. And that was probably maybe a new record for me to finish a sweater in a few weeks, because I am a very busy person with working and 2 children. So if I can finish a sweater in 1 month, then I'm really pushing for it, and that's great. So yes, and I'm really happy with the finished object. So yeah, do be careful with Tukuwool for anyone out there who is sensitive. It's very rustic. It's very rustic yarn. Of course, non-super wash. But it will come in very handy in the cold winter months. And so we're going to stay on a Petite Knit Cumulus train, because right after the Cumulus blouse, what did I do? I cast on and knit the Cumulus tee. Yes, it was in my wardrobe, so I'm sorry for the lines, and I'm gonna put it on for you later and insert a clip here. So this is almost the same pattern. It's basically the same apart from the gauge. So this has a finer gauge. The Cumulus blouse has a much larger gauge, perhaps about 20, 21 stitches around there, or oh yeah, it's a Aran weight gauge is the Cumulus blouse. This is a fingering weight gauge. I can't remember the number of stitches now, but it took longer to knit. Fingering weight patterns, garments, they take longer because you have more stitches. The stitches are smaller, you have more, so then it takes longer. But yeah, I'm very happy with how it came out. But I did actually make a few changes, and also I made a mistake here at the back as well. I want to show you this mistake, and I have a confession to make how this mistake happened. I want to show you first. Can you see this little mishap here? So these are the increases. This line is where you increase. Very easily done. But how this mistake happened, sometimes in the evening, very rarely when I knit, it's nice to have a glass of beer. And when you drink alcohol and you knit faster, which is a bonus. But then also you're more prone to make a mistake. I mean, of course, I'm not drunk, but you know, I was a tiny bit tipsy from my beer, and so I made a mistake, and there you go. That's probably the price you have to pay for drinking alcohol when you knit. It's nice and relaxing, and you knit faster, and it's kind of, it's nice, but yeah, you make a mistake sometimes. So yes, let me tell you about the modifications that I made here. So with the Cumulus Petite Knit, she has you do an I-cord bind off around the edges on the sleeve and the hem and the neckline. And I did that on the Cumulus blouse. Let me show you the I-cord. Can you see this nice edge here on the neckline? And this is the sleeve. So that's the I-cord bind off, which gives you a very nice finish. It was the first time I did that on the Cumulus blouse. However, with the Cumulus tee, I decided against it, and I did a different hem finishing and sleeve finishing. So maybe you can see it here. So I did a split hem, and then I did just simply, I did a rolled bind off. Rolled bind off is basically just a standard bind off, but because it's stocking knit stitch, it will roll up on itself. So yes. So yeah, standard bind off all around on the sleeves as well. So that's the modification that I did. I felt in with the Cumulus tee with a summery top, I think it looks nicer with that rolled edge, and it's very loose fitting. It's nice. However, with the neckline, what I did with the neckline, I did something slightly different. After picking up stitches, I actually knitted for 2 rounds, which gives me this tiny wedge here, and then I bound off. Yeah, I really like it how it came out. The only thing though is that I had to actually redo the hem bind off and the sleeve bind off because I knitted them too loosely. What I did is at first I did a stretchy bind off, and then the sleeves were way too loose and baggy. So I had to actually undo the bind off, and same for the hem. It was too loose with the stretchy bind off. I find every single time when I knit a sweater, I always struggle a little bit with the bind off. Sometimes I do it too tight, and then I have to undo it. Then I do it too loose and it's too stretchy. So I'm always torn in between what bind off to choose. But I think I will get there. I know I can. I mean, it's not rocket science, is it? I think the best option is what I have learned, and please comment below if you have any advice. So when you need a bit of space and you don't want it too tight, for example, if you put a sweater on with some bind offs around the neckline, it can be too tight and then you can't put it over your head. Same with socks. The bind off around the cuffs, if it's too tight, you can't put it over your feet. So there's certain situations where you need the bind off to be kind of loose, but then there's a fine line between loose or too loose. So what I have found is that I think I will continue to stick to the standard bind off, but just knit it on at least 1 millimeter bigger needle, and that's what I've done in the end with this, which gave me a perfect bind off in the end. So yes, it's all about experimenting, and yeah, that's it. Oh, I forgot to mention the yarn. I knitted this with the Viking Bambino. Inga Knitting Traditions, she mentioned this yarn and she said she really liked it, so I wanted to give it a go. And it's a bamboo, I think it's cotton and bamboo if I'm not mistaken, Viking Bambino fingering weight yarn. And so that's what I've used, and it came out nice. It blocked out nicely as well. So that's my second finished object. Right, and now onto my third finished object, since I last saw you back in April. Right, so this, so first let me tell you a little bit about it. So this has been on my needles, this garment, since maybe around November, December time last year. And it has been on the needle for some time. It's because this is one of these long-standing projects that you just can't knit quickly, because it is basically a single mohair garment where you just knit with one strand of silk mohair, so it's very fine. And yeah, you have to really stay motivated to push through it and knit the entire garment, because it does take time. And so in between I started new projects just to have a bit of an easier knit. I think in between I started my Cumulus tee. In between I was knitting this and finished this before I finished this, because yeah, you have to kind of stay motivated. But without further ado, let me show you the finished project. So this has made an appearance in the other videos. You can check them out and find out some more information and see my journey. So this is the Jules Genser. It is a yoked single mohair sweater, and it is finished. I can't even hold it properly in the camera. There's the sleeves, and this is from a book. I will insert a picture here from a book from Sandnes Garn, Milkte Dame, I believe, and I think it is Norwegian, and I think it translates to made for women. I don't know, I don't want to say it, I don't know, something like that. But anyway, it's from Sandnes Garn. I will link below. You can purchase, it's a pattern book, and this pattern was in it. So yes, I did get inspired by Inga, I must admit, and so this, yeah, I really wanted this finished object. So yeah, a little bit about my experience with it, really. So basically it's a top-down yoked sweater, so you increase here, you knit the yoke where the increases are distributed around the yoke. It has a beautiful lace yoke, and then you, so very simple really, you do the lace yoke, then you split for the sleeves, you knit the body and you knit the sleeves. So now in terms of modifications, I think the sleeves, I think I did the sleeves, did I do the sleeves different? No, I'm lying, no I didn't, no, same, I stuck to the pattern, I remember now. It has a slight balloon sleeve effect, because what you do is you knit straight down, the sleeves are without decreases, you knit straight down, and then you decrease before the cuff, and that gives you that, you decrease rapidly all around one round, you do knit two together, that gives you that balloon effect. And so yeah, it was, in the end it was an easy knit, because then the rest is just stockinette knitting. But I have to say, knitting with silk mohair, it's, I mean, you get used to it, but it just takes time, and you have to look at the stitches. It's not great TV knitting, you do have to look at the stitches, because around the yoke I actually lost one stitch. So I had X amount of stitches before, and I counted my stitches afterwards, after some knitting, and then I found that I was short of one stitch. And with silk mohair you can never ever find the stitch again. So I did worry at the time, is it going to unravel, what should I do? But then I just increased one stitch and hoped for the best, and I think it worked. I hope I'm not gonna, I hope it's not gonna unravel. This is blocked, washed, blocked, everything. I shall insert B-roll here now to show you the garment on me. So I'm very happy with it. It is extremely warm. Silk mohair is very warm, so I shall wear that in the autumn winter time, and I can't wait to show it off. Oh, I must tell you though that I once again, this is me and bind-off. Yeah, we don't like each other, as always, bind-offs. I had a mishap with the bind-off, so oh my god, I almost lost my nerves over that. So what happened, I bound off, did a normal bind off, and as I mentioned earlier, then when you put the sleeve on, it was too tight to get over my hand. So how do you undo a bind off in silk mohair? Because you can't see, it's such a fussy yarn, you cannot see the stitches, and the fibers stick to each other, so you just what do you do? But there's a way. Let me tell you, there's a way. What you have to do is, you have to, first of all, don't whip out anything. First you have to put in a reactive lifeline. So reactive lifeline means that you put in a lifeline after you made the mistake. And I had to put that lifeline through ribbing. So when you put the lifeline through a knit stitch, it is easy because you just go through the right leg of the V, yeah? But then with the purl stitch, where do you put the lifeline? So what you do is you have to turn it the other way around, and on the inside your purl stitches are your knit stitches. So on the outside you put the lifeline through the knit stitches, on the inside you put the lifeline through the other knit stitches. This will pick up all the stitches around. So that means my stitches are held securely on this lifeline. Some people even say that they use dental floss as the string of a lifeline if it's very fine yarn. So yes, and then I undid the binder, which was also extremely difficult to do because it's as I mentioned, the fibers stick to each other, and I managed to do it. And then I had to re-knit the binder, and that was it. And so yeah, so I have to thank Inga for that wonderful sweater, because if she hadn't knitted it, I wouldn't have seen it. And so I went ahead straight away and purchased a pattern book, which I managed to get without buying yarn. So yeah, I'm really loving it, and thank you. Thank you to myself for knitting it. Oh, and I forgot to mention the yarn. I've used Knitting for Olive Silk Mohair in the autumn color. Yeah. So that is that finished object. So let's move on to works in progress now. So this first project I keep in this bag, which is just a commercially made bag. I think I got this bag from Hobbycraft. But yeah, it's poor quality because can you see these threads here hanging out all over? Oh, it's not very nice. Anyway, so what I'm housing in here is because I did say that I'm staying on the Petite Knit train. So this is my third Petite Knit pattern that I'm showing here in this episode. And I'm not sorry for that at all. I'm showing you now the Ankers Summer Shirt. Isn't it gorgeous? I keep on trying on this sweater so much because I love the color. Look at this. Look at this beauty. It's also a very beautiful fit because I've added waist shaping, which gives me a little bit of a feminine figure. Yeah, really love it. Yes, Petite Knit Ankers Summer Shirt. However, because of the yarn that I'm using, it is not a very summery yarn, so it will in the end become an autumn sweater for me. I find I tend to do that often, I think now, where I would go for a DK Aran weight gauge, which is around 18 to 20 stitches. So use a thicker yarn and use summer. No, does that make sense now? No, what am I saying now? I think I got that twisted in my head. So this is a summer, yes, a summery top. I think it has, I'm talking rubbish now, don't listen to me. I have it here, let me show you. Let's talk about the gauge now. Let's look it up. This is the Ankers Summer Shirt, paid for pattern of course, and I can tell you it is 20 stitches. So yes, for a summery top, usually summer tops, the standard summer top is probably more a fingering weight. However, this is a DK Aran weight yarn pattern because it has 20 stitches per 10 centimeter, and this is exactly what I'm getting with this. So yes, I was talking rubbish there with, I don't know what I was saying. Anyway, so yes, the yarn I'm using, let me show you. So I'm using two yarns, holding them together, and this is what I am using. So this here is Hedgehog Fibres Cashmere Merino in the Colourway Teacup. So once again, Hedgehog Fibres Cashmere Merino color Teacup. I got this as a custom dye order, and I really love these pink speckles in it. And I'm holding it together, excuse me, with Knitting for Olive pure silk in cream color. I can't remember the name of the color. So I'm holding them together, yeah, two strands, and that's the fabric it makes. So all I have to do now is knit the webbing on the bottom to mirror what I have up here. The same number of rows I will do, so the same number of rounds I will do than I have here on top. Then I am gonna knit. So because this is a summer top, Petite Knit has short sleeves, but I'm planning to do half sleeve, and I think that will look very, very nice. Perhaps even I will go to 3/4 length sleeve. And yes, so these are the modifications that I'm making with this garment. I'm knitting the sleeves longer. I'm adding waist shaping to give me a bit of a tailored look. And also what I've done with the with the yoke here, I actually omitted one whip repeat. So Petite Knit has four. She has 4 of these whip repeats, but I'm only doing 3 whip repeats. So that means that I started casting on the number of stitches after the first repeat, because I wanted a wider neckline, and that was totally the right decision for me. It looks really nice. So yeah, that's that. I think I will finish that soon, because it's at a large gauge. It knits up very quickly, and I can't wait to have this finished. What else is there to say? Oh yeah, about the yarn. I did order, so I started with 2 skeins of the Hedgehog fiber yarns, but I'm actually running out now. And because I'm going to add sleeves, I had to go ahead and order an extra skein of this yarn. I have still enough of this knitting for olive. And whilst I'm talking about knitting for olive silk, I do want to show you the yarn actually in the ball. So I have a few more of those. So this is the knitting for olive pure silk. And I heard many knitters and podcasters talk about this yarn, and most knitters love the yarn. For me, I think it's too early to tell, because I'm holding it together with a different yarn, so I can't really say yet. Yeah, I don't know, but it's kind of it's not a forgiving yarn. It's a stiff yarn. You know, there's no give, there's no stretch, so it makes it a bit harder on the hands to knit with it, I find. But other than that, it is nice. Sorry about the crinkling noise now. So we're going to put that back in the bag now. Yes, and now we move on to the next work in progress. And that next whip is in this bag. This bag you can actually use as a carry-on bag and still knit, yeah? So you can have a sock project in it that's not so heavy. Some people do like to go for walks and knit at the same time, which I think is super cool. And with this bag you can do so, which is nice. I've never done it, but anyway, so this next whip is also a very special one. I hope, I think. Let me show you. I don't have much to show you. At the moment there's only a bit of wibbing here. 1 by 1 wibbing. Yeah, 1 by 1 wibbing. And that color, I think, is just lovely. This brown orange together with the grey is really, really nice. So again, I'm holding 2 yarns together. Oh, I hope I'm not losing stitches. No. I'm holding 2 yarns together. I'm holding this fingering weight yarn with this Silk Mohair yarn together. They are both in the same, they both have the same color. Sorry, they're both the same colorway. I can't remember the name now. 10, oh, I will link it below. I can't remember now. But this is Aimee, a yarn. Yarn dyer in Paris. Very popular, very expensive yarn. French. Sorry, I'm butchering the pronunciation. Is it Labienne? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much now how you pronounce it. Very, very nice yarn. This is very soft, the Silk Mohair. And I think I have enough yarn for this project. And what is it going to become? So I've had this yarn in my stash for some time, and I don't have too much of it, so I couldn't really do a complete sweater. So that's why I decided to go for a vest instead. And I'm knitting the Ithilien Vest by Fabel Knitwear. I'm doing this vest here in this darker yarn that I just showed you. So this construction is bottom up, so you start with the whipping here. So that's what I'm doing right now, the whipping. And yes, it does look deceivingly small, but because it's held on this very small circumference needle, the actual fabric it makes is going to be much bigger to fit around my waist, of course. And I actually had to frog it and restart, because I did the whipping already and then I tried it on over my belly, and because of the cast on edge, which was too tight, the whipping itself would have fit on my belly, but the cast on edge was a bit too tight. So I had to basically just whip it out and start again, and this time I cast on larger needles so that I have the edge, so that the edge is not so tight basically. So yeah, so that's the Ithilien Vest. I've been wanting to knit a Fabel Knitwear pattern forever now, and finally I'm doing it. So yeah, there's nothing much to say really. In terms of the construction, as I said, it is bottom up, and it has a square neckline, which I find is very feminine, so I can't wait for them. Yes, and now to my next WIP now. Let's move on to the next WIP. I did say that this is going to be a longer episode because I have a lot to show you. So this work in progress is actually the work in progress that I've been craving for the most now. So with these other patterns, with these other projects, I put them aside, and I just wanted to pick this one up all the time now because it is so nice. So you may have heard of the Moonset pullover by Ozetta. So that's what I'm knitting right now, and I want to show you. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this WIP so much right now that I just want to knit on this exclusively. Let's talk about the yarn first because I just have it in my hand. So I'm knitting the Moonset pullover with this gorgeous 100% alpaca yarn, and it is Drops Puna. 100% alpaca. It is so soft. I cannot wait to have the finished object. And let me show you this mess now. So you will not think that this will ever become a sweater if you see this. How is this going to be a sweater? I will explain it. So this is a very different construction, different to the standard raglan shaping that you do, where you have 4 increase points and you just knit down. This is completely different. This construction is also knit from the top down, but very different. And it's the first time It's the first time I'm doing this type of construction. I find with knitting, I really welcome new ways of knitting, new types of knitting, new constructions, because then I learn more and I grow as a knitter. So how this works, so basically what you see here is the back piece, okay? This is the back piece. It will lay like this. It is the back piece, and what you see here is basically the... Is this right? Yes, that is the back piece. And then you... and now I'm actually knitting the left front with the collar together. At first, when I read the pattern, I was a bit confused as to how to do the collar together with the front pieces. So the construction here was a bit confusing for me at first, but then after reading the pattern again several times and watching Ozetta's instructional videos, I got a hang of it. Also, actually reading at the very end of the pattern where it says you have to seam up the back collar to the back, then it made sense to me and I understood. So that's basically the moral of the story here, is to often it helps to read the entire pattern before you actually start knitting. And as I said, if you have to read it 10 times, then read it 10 times, you know. Read the entire pattern, because then it's there are some steps at the end that will then give you a clue as to how all this comes together, if that makes sense. So the way this is started is you basically cast on stitches at the back, you knit German short rows, which gives you this slanted edge. Then you start knitting the collar. Then you start knitting the collar together with the front. You pick up stitches here on this line. Can you see this line? That's where I picked up stitches, and now I'm knitting the front and the collar together. And because it's such an intriguing construction and knit, I just want to knit on it all the time. Even at work in my lunch break, I forget to eat my lunch because I sit and knit and I don't want to put it down. And then I end up stuffing my face just shortly before I have to go back to work. So that's the Moonset Pullover by Ozetta, and thoroughly enjoying it. This is how it's going to look. With this beautiful V-neck. So yeah, can't wait for this. Then in the end, when the fronts are joining, you will then also be able to knit in the round as well. And that will be a breeze as well. So yeah, really enjoying it. Would highly recommend it. I can see this pattern to also become one of these grace patterns, because it's, yeah, I can see this. I can see this becoming very popular. I've already watched a few knitting podcast knitters that are currently, that have already knit the Moonset Pullover, and they say they want to make more, and I don't blame them. I can see myself knitting another one as well. Also, it is actually nice to just use one strand at the moment and not hold two strands of yarn together. It's nice to have that kind of break, because all the other projects that I have at the moment, the Ithilien Vest and the Ankers Summer Shirt, I'm holding two strands of yarn together, so that can be a bit tiring. It's nice to just be able to actually knit, watch TV, and not having to look at your knitting, because then if you have only one strand, you're much less likely to split the yarn and you catch the yarn every time. Whereas with two strands, it can happen very quickly that you just pick up one strand and then you drop the other strand. So yeah. Right, let's put that away now. One more thing to say about the Moonset Pullover. It is so well written. Ozetta really did a good job, and I'm really giving her credit. There's not one mistake, not one mistake. Everything adds up, everything. She gives you the number of stitches, she gives you the number of rows, the number of centimeters or inches you have to knit. There are instructional videos. So if you are more an intermediate knitter, maybe not a beginner knitter, if you are a beginner knitter, I would highly recommend a simple raglan sweater. But if you're intermediate and you maybe done a couple of sweaters, you can knit this sweater. Now the last whip I want to show you today is a very long-standing whip. It's a sock that I had going since last summer, so it's been on my needles for a year. I had finished, so last year I had finished one sock, and then second sock syndrome totally hit me, and I couldn't bring myself to knit the second sock. And that is because the leg, the cuff, has a lace motif, and it's really complicated lace motif, I have to say, where even the beginning of the round changes, and you have to be really careful with the yarn overs. Yeah, I can't explain it to you now, but anyway, let me show you this whip. So I picked it, so this is the second sock now. I picked it back up, and I forced myself to do the lace. This is the beautiful lace motif on these socks. Isn't it stunning? Can't wait to have it finished. Then, of course, so it's cuffed down, and then I did the heel. And now I finished knitting the leg as well. Sorry, the foot. I finished knitting the foot. And now I just have to do the toe, and then that's it. So I'm knitting these socks on my 9-inch Jagu, 9-inch Jagu bamboo needles. I've got my end stoppers here. So yes, it's bamboo. So I prefer to knit on metal needles, excuse me, but because I actually took these with me to Germany on the plane, I used the bamboo or wooden needles, because then security is not going to stop you, they're not going to take your knitting away. So that would be my number one advice. If you're traveling on an airplane, then yeah, definitely use these, use wooden needles. So security did not stop me, and I was able to knit them on the plane. And so yeah, they will be finished now in no time. And I think for now I will not be knitting another pair of socks now for quite a long time. Or I think I will just stick to plain vanilla socks, where you don't do a lace section. Ah yes, apologies, my memory card was full. I had to go and delete a few videos. So yes, that was all the finished objects and my WIPs for this episode. And in the last section I just want to talk a little bit about life stuff and sit down and knit with you a little bit today, and also just show you one yarn purchase that I made. Let me show you that first. Oh, also I want to just as well talk a little bit about some future knits. There's many garments that I want to knit after I finish those current WIPs now. But yeah, I'll talk to you about that in a moment. First, let me show you this yarn. It's still in the bag. So yes, it was actually my birthday in May, and it was a round number. So I turned 40, and so I thought, oh, I have to treat myself. I have to treat myself. And so I got this Hedgehog Fibres yarn, tweedy. And it's a lovely grey yarn with these tweedy specks in it. And it's a DK weight yarn, and I want to make a cardigan with this, and I think that will look really nice. Hedgehog fiber yarn is quite pricey, but yeah, it was my 40th, so yeah. This is 50% Falkland merino wool, then 37.5 recycled wool, and then 12.5 thread waste, made in Ireland. So yeah, this will be a cardigan, and I must say I do love the color grey. I think it is classy, very classy color. It you can just throw it on anything. It goes with any color, really, I find. So yeah, that was my yarn purchase. And then now the pattern that I saw the other day on Instagram, and this is a new designer to me. I have never heard of her, but I saw it on Instagram, and the garment is called the Padolist Blouse, and this looks really stunning. It has a little so it's a blouse knit from the top down, and it has an opening here with a little what do you call it, with some straps to tie them straps. So you have a bow here, so it's open here, and then you have the blouse, and you have these straps to tie them. And then there's also a motif here, so it's a little bit of color work. It looks to me like probably it could even be intarsia knitting, because there's only that one color motif here. So it wouldn't be Fair Isle, I don't think. It looks to me more like intarsia. And that's something that I really want to try as well. Intarsia knitting is very easy, because all you do is, when you come to the new color, you twist the yarns together so that there's no gap, and then you just knit with the new color, and you have several balls of yarns attached. So like, let's say here you have color A, yeah, and then you leave that you leave the working yarn, and then you continue knitting with color B, but you have to wrap the yarns around each other, as I said. And so you have one strand of one working yarn here, and then when you come to the primary color again, you drop this working yarn and knit with this yarn. I'm not sure if that makes sense now, but this is how intarsia works. It's actually even easier than Fair Isle knitting, because you only knit with one strand of yarn at any one time. Just that you have 3 strands connected. Yeah, so you've got here the same color, let's say on this side is the same color, but it's 2 working yarns, and in the middle you've got the color motif, the different color. So that's what I imagine how this will work. And then I haven't seen the finished garment, but the sleeves look to me like they become ruffle sleeves. So you have these sleeves, and then suddenly it just opens up much wider. So it could be a ruffle or balloon sleeves, I don't know, but that's in the planning. And I will link it below, and that looks really interesting. I don't even know when that pattern will come out, but that's something on my radar. So yeah. And now, why don't we just sit together? Please grab your knitting, grab a drink. I had my coffee already, so I'm going to knit on my Ithilien Vest, and we can have a chat. So yes, please comment below, tell me what you're up to. Are you knitting on anything interesting now? Tell me, how is life treating you? For me, life is good. Yeah, I'm one of these people. I don't like to complain. I'm very grateful for what I have in life. I have two healthy children. We're doing well. We have a stable income, stable jobs that are not causing too much stress, and you know, we have a roof over our, I know it sounds silly, but we have a roof over our head. I'm grateful for that we have a house, a family house. I have a partner. I'm very grateful for that, not being alone. I do know a few people, it's mainly at work. Some people, it's basically males. Some of my colleagues, they are alone and they really struggle, you know, being alone. And in the past, when I was younger, before I met my partner, I was alone as well, and I didn't have the opportunity then to go out and do things and meet new people. So I have my partner, and yes, as I said, I'm very grateful for all these things. The number one thing in my life are my 2 children. They make me so happy. They make me smile every single day. Even when I don't feel like smiling, they make me smile. They are developing very well. They are happy. They're doing well in school. So yeah, I think it's much easier to go through life, and it's much easier to go through hard times when you have a positive attitude, and when you always, even in negative things, there's always a positive you can take out of. So I tend to do that, always see the positive, and things are always harder at first than they actually are. So if you first allow some time, maybe sleep, if you have a problem, and maybe sleep on it, and things always work out in the end. So that's how I see it. Sometimes it's okay to just leave a problem be, and then after a few days address it again. Yeah. Yeah, and so at the moment it's the summer holidays. At the moment it's the summer holidays, and so my 2 children are at home. In 2 weeks' time they start school again. And it was really nice, our summer holidays. We went to the seaside. We went to Butlins here in England, and only 2 hours drive. That was really nice. It's mainly kids entertainment, and we spent some time as a family. That was really lovely. I think it's important, if you have the means, to get away every year, to go on a holiday, even if it's, you know, in the same country and you just drive somewhere else. I think it is very important to kind of treat yourself and to get away and relax for a few days and see something different. And then we also went to Germany to visit my family. Oh, I have mohair now. Because I'm knitting my Ithilien Vest with the mohair. I had some mohair in my mouth now. So yeah, so we went to Germany, so that was really nice. And we spent some time with my parents. Because I come from a very small town in Germany, and there's not much to do there, so it can get a little bit boring at times, but this time it wasn't boring. There was loads to do, because in the summer months, of course, you can get out and, you know, you can enjoy outdoor swimming and things like that. So that's what we did. Yeah, and yes, I'm back at work now as well. I've been working the last few days now, and I have to go back again next week. Whilst my kids are still at home, I go back to work because my other half actually works from home, so he's able to stay at home with the children, which is also something that we're very grateful for. And yeah, for anyone who's interested, I'm a senior technician working for a university. I work in IT, so that's what I do for a living and work full-time. So yeah, life is busy, but life is good as well. Yeah. So yes, what else is there? The fish are doing well. We have a fish tank with tropical fish. However, actually one fish I think I will have to return, unfortunately, because that fish is a bully. It's a red-tailed black shark, and he chases the other fish away, and so they're quite frightened of him, and they always stayed in the fish, they stay in their hiding spots. And so today I'm gonna actually go to the fish shop, and I have to unfortunately return one fish because he is too aggressive. And so then because it's a community tank, the other fish then are not happy, you know, so I don't want them. So yeah, busy today, I have to do that. And yes, I think I'm going to end it here now for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I think I think I was probably going a bit too fast at times. I hope you stayed with me. I hope you're all well, and I wish you all happy knitting, and I shall see you in the next episode. Bye.